sky, kicks it to Cunningham. 3 on the way is good. No foul is called, and now tempers are flaring.
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So the Indiana Fever go out and sign Myisha Hines-Allen, and for some reason, people aren't feeling it. I don't really get the pushback. When I look at this move, I see a clear upgrade in a very specific role. She's essentially stepping in for Bria Turner, and if we're being honest, Turner barely saw the floor for stretches last season. There were a lot of DNPs, a lot of inconsistency. That matters. Now with Hines-Allen, you're getting someone who can actually space the floor a bit. And yeah, I've already seen people bring up that 26% shooting number from last year. Cool. But that's not the full story. She's around a 35% shooter for her career. That's a much better indicator of who she is. But more importantly, this isn't just about shooting. This is about presence. This is about physicality. She's strong, she plays with an edge, and she's not someone opponents are going to push around. The Fever didn't necessarily lack effort or mental toughness last season. They competed. But physically, that's where they needed help. And let's be real about the financial side, too. When you're committing big money to players like Temi, Alana Smith, and Jess Shepard, you have to find value elsewhere. That's just roster construction 101. Hines-Allen fits that perfectly. She brings toughness, she fills a need, and like Amber Cox hinted, she's an enforcer. And honestly, that's exactly what this team was missing. You have added a bruiser in there who, by the way, if you ever look up Myisha Hines-Allen, her biggest thing is with Sophie. The main clip of Myisha Hines-Allen that has gone viral is Myisha Hines-Allen and Sophie Cunningham getting into it. So if you haven't seen it, Myisha Hines-Allen versus Sophie Cunningham. Hines-Allen steps over Sophie Cunningham, she hits a 3, or say she misses it, and Sophie misses a 3, she steps over Sophie. Sophie grabs her leg. The two of them get into it mid-game. The two of them almost try to fight each other. And that's one of those things where you're like, okay, this is a player who's not going to take anything from anyone. And people are like, oh, we already have our enforcer in Sophie. You can never have too many. You can never have too many. So let's really talk about this, because I think people are forgetting what we literally just watched last season. Go back to that preseason game against the Washington Mystics. Sophie Cunningham is out there getting absolutely mauled. Like, not just physical, I'm talking borderline cheap shots. She got hit twice in what felt like 45 seconds. And yeah, she still dropped around 17 and helped carry them to a win, which was impressive, but that's not the point. The point is it took DeWanna Bonner stepping in to calm things down. That's a veteran presence saying, all right, enough is enough. And that game, let's be honest, that didn't feel like preseason. That felt like two teams that genuinely didn't like each other. Overtime, high intensity, players going at it nonstop. And then you had the rookies, Lucy Olson and Sonia Citron, trying to do the polite handshake thing after the game, and the vets were basically like, no, we're not doing that here. It was chaos. And then the narrative flips, people start saying WNBA players don't shake hands, and the Mystics literally go out of their way in the next game just to shake hands. It was hilarious. But here's why all of that matters. Because the Fever needed someone who prevents that situation from even happening in the first place. And that's where Myisha Hines-Allen comes in. This isn't just a random signing. This is a tone-setting move. This is bringing in someone that, across the league, players already respect physically. There was literally a poll where WNBA players were asked who they'd want as a bodyguard, and her name was right there alongside Alyssa Thomas. That's elite company when you're talking about toughness and physical presence. And it's not like she's just an enforcer with no game. People forget, this is an all-WNBA caliber player at her peak. Yes, it was during the wobble, but that still counts. She was dominant during that stretch, winning Player of the Week multiple times and putting up serious numbers. Even more recently, go look at her playoff performances. In 2023, against a stacked New York Liberty team, Stewie, Vandersloot, that whole squad, she was still producing. She had 21 in Game 1, followed it up with a solid Game 2 in an overtime loss, and she was a positive on the floor. That matters. That tells you she can contribute on a competitive team. And even in less than ideal situations recently, she's still shown flashes. You look at her game logs, double-digit scoring, solid rebounding, doing a bit of everything. She's not washed. She's just been in inconsistent roles. Now, let's address the bigger picture. Roster construction. The Fever spent big money elsewhere. Temi Figbenle, Alana Smith, Jess Shepard, those are not cheap contracts. So when you're allocating that kind of cap space, you have to find value pieces. You're not going to stack max-level players across the board. That's just not how this works. So would it have been nice to land a bigger name? Sure, but at what cost? Overpaying long-term deals for players who may not even fit as well? That's how you get stuck. Instead, you bring in someone like Myisha Hines-Allen on a more reasonable deal, someone who fills a very specific need: physicality, toughness, and presence. Because let's be clear, there's a difference between being tough and being feared. Sophie Cunningham? Tough. She'll stand up for teammates all day. But Myisha Hines-Allen? That's the type of player where opponents think twice before doing anything reckless, and that alone has value that doesn't always show up in the box score. And yeah, if it doesn't fully work out, you still have options. You've got players like Monique Billings who can step into similar roles. Maybe others step up. Maybe another move gets made. But given the situation the Fever were in, cap constraints, market limitations, I genuinely think this might have been one of the best realistic moves available. So yeah, call her what you want, role player, depth piece, but at the end of the day, this is an enforcer. This is something the Fever have been missing. Anyway, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Shaking their head like, it's hard to stop me when I turn that corner going to the basket.
Hines-Allen, yes! Hines-Allen count the bucket and the foul.
To the second side for the sweet, smooth reversal. Myisha Hines-Allen coming right into your living room.
Here's Hines-Allen, count the basket! Oh, Myisha's got a mismatch, takes advantage of it, nailed it!
Sophie's that wild card, man. Sophie's a dog. She's a competitor, but what she brings from an energy standpoint, she raises the level of play of everybody around her. She's definitely an X factor.
I think we have the best fans in the whole W, and I know every team says that, but they're lying. They're feisty, just like me, and so when you get them involved, it's really hard for other teams to come in here and compete.
Sophie's so fun to play with. She has a different energy about her, something you can't teach, something you can't tell people to act like. Being able to play with her, you feed off of that, and I'm very grateful to get to play alongside her.
When I talk about effort, that's Sophie Cunningham. That kind of stuff you can't teach, and I think that's how you win games. And if we can all just do that, we have a good chance to be more like Sophie.